Bartender ako sa isip, sa salita at gawa. Karanasan ko ay katumbas ng pagsubok at tuwa. Hindi pagpapalit ang aking mga napala. Tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang laban kahit minsan nadadapa.
Hey.
Hey man, how you doing?
How are you? Good morning from the Philippines.
Nice to see you.
Really nice to see you finally, Jeffrey. So, okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's Richie from Toma Sessions Live. And, well, we'll wait till everybody comes over. But I've been spreading the news since about last week, actually. So, yeah,
That's awesome.
everybody should be here in a few minutes.
That's great.
So, have you had your dinner? How's dinner?
I had dinner like hours ago, man.
Oh, okay. What time is it now?
8 o'clock. I've been like,
Oh,
know,
early dinner.
yeah, ever since, I mean, it's been 3 months, so like I'm on a totally different schedule now. I'm just like eating dinner at 5 and going to bed at 9.
Yep, no, I feel you. I'm actually
Instead
in my bar now,
Oh,
doing
nice.
some cleaning and some shoots.
Totally.
Because I'm reverting to the social media platform, so we're doing some YouTube stuff. So
It's great.
yeah, it'll be good. But I'm having a virgin mojito.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I tried. I'm 1 week. I'm 1 week sober. I mean,
Oh, good
meaning
for you.
I haven't had alcohol in my system just for a few
Yeah.
maybe days, but works.
It feels
Feels
great,
good.
huh?
Yeah.
It's nice, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, just while everyone is building up, since we'll be playing this tomorrow for a replay, so we might as well start the ball rolling since this will be cut in an hour.
Mhm.
But if that happens, we'll just reset it so that we can recap and then finalize everything because I don't want to really take much of your time.
I mean, I got to go to bed soon, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so just to give everyone an introduction to our guest for today. So he's been awarded by Tales of the Cocktail and Bar Nightclub as Bartender of the Year. He is from Portland and he manages 2 bars, one of which is a 7-time James Beard Award, Clyde Common, and Pepe Lemoco. He's also an award-winning author. Well, obviously, you guys would have that in your bookshelves or bars or even libraries. The bar book and the Drink Distilled, a user's manual, which I don't have yet, but soon. And also, Playboy nominated him as the top 10 bartender in the United States, as well as the Super Call, which I'm not really familiar with, but maybe he can explain to us later. And his latest creation on his website is the PX Cherry Mudslide,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Jeffrey Morgenthaler.
Hey, man, nice to see you.
So, well, for starters, have you ever been to the Philippines?
No, not yet.
Okay, has it crossed your mind? And which
course.
country? But which country in Asia have you been to already?
Only China and Hong Kong.
Ah, okay, our
That was
neighbor.
a really, really long time ago. That was in 1987.
Oh, okay, yeah, a lot has changed.
I don't know if you were alive then.
I was.
Okay.
But thank you for.
Sure.
Okay, so maybe just for starters, Jeffrey. So it says here that you started your career in 1996, correct?
Yes.
Okay, but can you tell us something a little about your roots? Like, are you really are you a hospitality major, a business major? Are you out of the off tangent? Or okay, tell us something
Yeah,
about.
not even close. I got my first bar job in the summer. I was going to architecture school. I was studying interior architecture, and I just got the job because I needed the money.
Okay.
And I thought it would be a nice way to meet girls too. I thought maybe I could meet girls and make a little bit of money. The bar that I worked at, the first bar that I worked at, like there were no girls there. It was just like it was like old men, you know. And I wasn't very good at it. I didn't even really like it that much when I first started. And by the end of the summer, I started to like it, and I'd gotten pretty good at it. And they asked me to stay. I wasn't planning on staying when school went back into session, but I stuck around, and I mean, I'm glad I did, because I'm definitely not pursuing architecture any longer.
Oh, okay. But you finished. Did you finish?
I did. Yeah, I got my degree in interior architecture in 1998, and I did it for a little while. I never stopped attending bar. I always worked sort of as a side job, because you can't really make much money doing architecture at first, and so
Yes.
I just always kept the bar job. So I'd work in the office during the day, and then at night I would work at a bar, and slowly over the years I just kind of like fell in love with it.
But you're born and raised in Portland.
Nope, not at all. I'm from California.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Which part? LA? Sacramento?
Monterey. It's south of San Francisco on the coast.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so with that said, what made you transfer or go from San Fo to Portland?
Well, I moved to Eugene, which is a college town. That's where I went to school. It's in Oregon. It's about 2 hours south of Portland. I had no plans to move to Portland. I was actually recruited to work at Portland from Clyde Common. They called me in 2008 and asked me to come apply for the bar manager job, and I interviewed, and we liked each other, and so I packed up my life and I moved to Portland, and I've been here working at the same job for 11 and a half years now.
Okay, but most of the Morgenthalers are based in San Francisco.
In California, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, in California. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, near San Francisco rather.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to reach? Okay, let me rephrase that question. Let's go now to your writing. Let's go to your writing, because
Okay.
I'm really I'm a frustrated writer myself, but
All writers are.
well, yeah. No, but you have a lot of leads and binds already. But no, because the reason is I can't. It's been in my head always that how can I write an original bartending book? Whereas you know, the word original is really making me hesitant, simply because everything that I might write has already been taught or published, or
Oh,
maybe.
that's not true.
Okay, so yeah, that's why I want to
Yeah.
hear it straight from you. And normally, okay, like speaking, for example, locally, some it's just like me, because I do a compilation. I have a compilation manual, because these are certain. This like a compilation of different books I've read, and then I tried to put in a little of myself into that manual. So then I have my compilation manual. But what tips can you give us? Let's say, how do we, or let's put it this way: when did you decide to write the first book?
Oh, well, I had been writing on my website for probably 10 years. By the time the first book came out, I had already been, I'd been writing for Playboy, I'd been writing on my website. I think I'd probably been writing for Food Republic at that point. I had done a lot of writing. And I never, being a writer was never the goal for me. The goal for me was just to share the information that I had learned with people on my website, so that they could they could learn and grow, and especially people in smaller towns and smaller areas that maybe didn't have like a big cocktail scene, because we certainly didn't back in Eugene, in a little college town. We didn't have like a big cocktail community. There were just a couple of us making, kind of fancy cocktails. But I had learned a lot, and I wanted to share with people that didn't live in New York City or LA or San Francisco or London, And so that was really the goal for me. If your goal is to be the author of a book, I would say that you probably have the wrong goal. If your goal is that you want to share, that you have something that you feel important about sharing with the world, if sharing is your goal, then I think that's a really great goal to have. But nobody, I think you can tell when people just want to be a writer, because they write things that just don't really matter all that much, But when you're,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
so when you're passionate about what you love, and you write about it that way, it'll come naturally.
Okay. Yep. Okay, so that means your main media was your website first. Okay. So you're an early techie. You're an early. If I
Yeah,
could say.
I started my blog in 2004, and it's still going. It's 16 years old at this point. I think it's probably the oldest cocktail blog in the world, maybe.
Yeah. No, Okay, so you're the Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And I still write on it. I'm still publishing stuff. I mean, as you said, the mudslide. I still post on there as often as I can.
yeah. No, it's good. I mean, that's one aspect of bartending. Like what you said. Of course, it's a passion. But the reason I asked that question I asked from you a while ago is sometimes you get to think really what is there like a protocol, or is there like a standard? But like right now, instead of writing, my main passion is like producing videos, and that's what I want
That's great. Yeah.
to share basically. And it's I'm burning the midnight oil when it comes to that. I'm still learning a few things on editing, but yeah, it's really fun, and it keeps me going. Oh, sorry, there's one question here from our viewer, John Go. Okay. Here, John Go is one of our what do you call this? One of our distributors, and is also an aficionado when it comes to rum. He knows his booze. Okay. He asked, do you plan on using your degree if or when you build your own brand in the future?
Do I plan on using my degree? Well, I've had my degree for 20 years now, I think, 22 years. If I haven't used it, I haven't used it in probably about 15 years. So I don't think I have any plans to use it anytime in the future. Maybe, maybe it'll have to be my fallback job if bartending doesn't work out. But
Yeah, why not? No, but okay. When you entered Clyde Common and Pepe Limoco, is Pepe Limoco? Pardon my ignorance, because I haven't really been there. But my question is, were those two bars already built when you came in, or
pretty much, yeah. I didn't have anything to do with the
Okay.
design of the bars. Yeah, that's I leave that to other people. That's not my.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking because your architectural degree would come in handy when
No,
you
I've got other things that I'm better at than architecture.
All right. Okay. Next question would be, what made you, okay, apart from sharing really, the bar book, right? The bar book is like here in the Philippines, we see a lot of your books in every bar, and even in every HRM or hospitality management school.
Awesome. That's awesome.
What inspired you to to really start writing that. And the insights there also. In fact, you have a pretty, how do you call it? Unconventional way of your perspective in certain areas. If you know what I mean. So I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay. So what made you inspired to write that book?
Well, I had been writing about cocktail technique on my website for quite a long time. That was the area that I really was really strongest for me. I'm not really like a cocktail historian. I don't write about different types of booze. That's not really what interests me. What really interests me is like the tactile nature of our job and what we do with our hands. And I had been writing about that for a long time, and I noticed that really nobody had ever written about that, about how to physically do the job with your hands. There's so many, part of the pitch of the book was that there are 3 things that make a great cocktail: the recipe that you select, the ingredients that you choose, and the technique that you employ. There have been so many books written about recipes and so many books written about ingredients, but nobody had ever written a book about technique, really. And so I just, I saw that as an opportunity. It was a hard sell because, publishers don't tend to want to publish a book, a type of book that hasn't been written before. They tend to like to play it safe and publish books that have already been published a million times over, because they know they can make a certain amount of money from it.
Yeah.
But with like a lot of, kind of coercion, I got them to agree to it. And, we went back and forth a lot on that. And, the result was, I think, pretty good. A book about how to do all of the things with your hands, how to make syrups, how to make juices, how to shake and stir and strain and take care of ice and all that kind of stuff. And that's really what's most fun for me. That's what I love about cooking too, is just using my hands. That's why, when I come home at night, especially these days now that I don't have anything to do with my hands, I spend most of my time in my kitchen cooking.
Nice.
Yeah, because I gotta have something to do with my hands. Yeah.
Other hands.
Yeah, totally. So.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's go to trivial questions. What was the first cocktail you ever made?
Oh, I don't know about the first cocktail I ever made, but the first one that really stood out for me was probably the sidecar. I had been reading about the sidecar, and that was the first drink that I didn't really know. I mean, this was in the 90s, most people didn't know what a sidecar was back in the 90s.
Yes.
So it was a drink that sounded interesting to me. I didn't really know anything about it. I didn't know how to make it. Nobody was making it, so I kind of set out to try to, I don't know, kind of master the sidecar, at the bar that I worked at, and especially, in my home bar. I used to have a home bar that I would make cocktails in. And I worked on the sidecar, quite a bit. That was the first one that I really got into. And it's still one of my favorite types of drinks, is that kind of, as Gary Regan used to call it, the international sour, a sour that's sweetened with liqueur instead of just simple sugar. I have a special place in my heart for those international sours. So the sidecar was really the first drink that I kind of fell in love with.
Okay, so with that said, so what's your take on the sidecar? Can you tell us your take on the sidecar?
I went round and round and round with the sidecar for so many years. I read a guy named Paul Harrington who was, he probably had what, it wasn't called a blog at the time, but it would probably be considered one of the first cocktail blogs, if not the first cocktail blog. It was really just a series of weekly articles on the Hotwired website. It doesn't exist any longer, but he wrote about the sidecar, and he wrote about sour in a sort of pyramid form. He called it the golden ratio, and he said that 2 parts base spirit, 1 part sour and 1 part sweetener was really the perfect balance. And I made the sidecar so many times that way, and I never really got it. It didn't click with me. It didn't feel balanced. It didn't feel right. And then years and years and years later, I realized that, while that is true, I think that those drinks, especially international sours, need to be balanced with an additional teaspoon or 5. Do you guys use metric in the Philippines? Or
Yeah, ml.
yeah, so 5 mLs of 2-to-1 simple syrup. It really helps balance. So if you do 45 mils of cognac and 22.5 mils of Cointreau and 22.5 mils of lemon juice, it's still a little sour and it's a little thin and unbalanced. But that extra 5 mils of simple syrup just, kind of just makes the whole drink sing.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Because for me, my take on syrup is just like the condiment of a food. So it
Yeah, it's like
rounds.
salt. It's like salt, and that
Yeah.
it makes things taste more like themselves.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
doesn't necessarily register as sweeter, but it just tastes. The sidecar just tastes more like a sidecar when you put 5 mils
Yes,
of
yes,
syrup
yes.
in it.
Oh, wow. That is good to hear that from
Yeah.
you. Because, like, even if a recipe doesn't call for a syrup, sometimes if it's the acidity of a lime or a lemon is too much, I really need to add maybe a 5 to 10 mils just to round it off. Okay,
Absolutely.
so sidecar and in terms of being a manager, okay, how does that work? You're managing 2 bars. Is Clyde Common and Pepe Limoco? How far are they, or close to each other, or do you alternate?
They're about 20 feet away from each other.
Oh,
Yeah. So they're in the
okay.
same. They're in the same building. Yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
And so, back before all of this, I was working 2 nights behind the bar at Clyde Common and 2 nights behind the bar at Pepe La Moco. So I work 4 nights a week.
Oh, okay. All right. So how many is your seating capacity of
Clyde Common is about 100, 120.
Oh,
And
okay.
Pepe La Moco is about 42.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so one really big and one really small.
But now that will be sliced into half, most
Pretty
likely.
much. Yeah, most
Yeah.
likely. Yeah.
Okay. All right. As a manager, my next question would be, what are your? Do you have any pet peeves?
Oh, I don't know. Like employee pet peeves?
Yeah, maybe
Not
employee
really.
or maybe standard pet peeves, or maybe if there's something you really don't like. Oh, come on, please get that out of my sight.
No, I don't really have any pet peeves with my staff, but I don't hire people that would irritate me. Everybody I hire is they're all people that I love. So, I can't think of anything they do to irritate me. I think I
Okay.
can think of lots of things that I do to irritate them, but it's mostly just like my dumb jokes.
Okay, but what are your if we say a level of importance in your bar, like what's the first thing that you impart to your staff when you do your briefing?
Oh, I mean, taking care of the guests, I think, would be the most important thing. And then kind of trickling down from there, we have a lot of values that the business holds and that we as a bar team hold, and it's important that everybody sort of share those values. And I find that when everybody is kind of on board with those values, that everything just sort of falls into place. We always go back to those values, that value system. It helps keep us focused and keep us together.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
So-
really important.
I'm pretty okay. Let's now go to the Portland scene, bartending scene. Because-
Okay.
Yeah, because I've been watching the Facebook Live on the Portland page. You have a Portland cocktail page or something? Like just are you aware?
I don't have Facebook. I don't. Yeah.
Okay,
I don't pay
okay.
attention to all that.
All right. So, but there is a page. There's like a Portland cocktail page. How big is the Portland bartending scene as compared to maybe because I've been to New York and San Francisco, fortunately, a couple of years ago, and it's really so good, literally, because you have to go to from one place to the other. Let's say if I'm going from Dead Rabbit to Pouring Ribbons, it would take me either a train or a taxi. So when it comes to Portland, how how many bars in the whole, more or less in the whole city, and how far is one bar to the other?
It's a really like physically pretty small city, so it's not, to get from one side to the other really doesn't take very long. As for how many bars there are in town, I don't have any idea. Um, Lots, I'm friends with a lot of the bartenders at some of the better bars in town. Um, we all kind of hang out together, and I mean, certainly um, now that now that all this has changed everything, our text threads have gotten a lot busier. We
No, I know.
yeah, we like spend a lot of time like just like kind of, I don't know, talking shit and having some
Yeah, of
laughs,
course.
with all the we got a pretty good one. There's like, I don't know, close to 10 of us on the Portland bartender text thread.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a good little crowd.
Okay. So when it comes to the bartending, okay, let's go back again to your career. So what can you say was your rose to fame, if there's any? Is there like, of course you started, you slowly you said, right, until you became a bar manager from Clyde Common and Pepe Lemoco.
Yeah.
But before that, what do you think made you win the Tales of the Cocktail recognition?
Oh,
Of
I
course,
don't know. I think they probably had just given that award to everybody else, and I was probably the last in line. So I don't know. I don't know what compelled them to give me that award.
no, but do you attend? How often do you attend Tales of the Cocktail?
Pretty much never.
Okay. So you have it. Okay.
Yeah, I've been 2 or 3 times, but it's like right in the middle of our busy season, and I can't just go uh, drink in New Orleans for a week. I don't have time. It's too hot there too. So I usually just stay at Portland and work.
But what was your reaction when you were nominated and then you won that award? What were you doing at that time when you got the award? Do you
I
remember?
think I think I was working. I think I was at the bar probably. I mean, it's very flattering. I don't really put a lot of stock in awards and nominations and things. It's very nice, but like, I think that you can tell when somebody cares too much about those things, and I don't think it makes you a very good bartender. So I try not to really spend a lot of time thinking about awards and such, because you see those bars that have their awards plastered all over the place, and the bartenders that are always, it's like right there in their bio on Instagram that they won some stupid award. It's not really the reason why I do what I do.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, just to follow up, so what for you does hospitality mean?
Oh, I mean, taking care of the guests, and not just individually, but taking care of the entire room of guests, I think is really important too. You know, I think that a lot of times when people talk about hospitality, they tend to get focused on one single person rather than the whole room, and that can really be detrimental to the room. A lot of times when you're taking care of someone, it means you're not taking care of maybe a group of other people. And so, I think that, for us, it's just taking care of like the whole group, the whole room.
Okay. Okay, let's just make a shout out again to everybody. So, guys, thank you for tuning in. Welcome to Toma Sessions Live with me, Richie, and our guest, Mr. Jeffrey Morgenthaler. So let's just go through again. We have a lot of comments here. Okay, one was commenting. Well, John go comment. Nolan, the summer heat isn't that far off from Manila. Yeah. Okay. Then who decided New Orleans in the summer was a good idea? I think I think it's because maybe July is middle. It's the middle of the year, so that's why they held it.
I think it's also a lot cheaper to be
The
there
flight.
since it's the flights and the hotels tend to be a lot cheaper.
Okay. Well, I don't. Cheap is relative, but yeah, more or less.
Yeah,
Because I
right.
tried booking early actually, and because from the Philippines it would take me 2 flights. So one from Manila to Sanfo maybe, then Sanfo to Nola. Okay, then there's another one. I think it cocktails when you first opened Alamoco. They were tasty. So that's from Southern Goods. And then, okay, Cocktail Whisperer. I've recommended his book more than any other besides God's Regan.
Oh,
Uh, okay. All right, let's go now to your friends. So, for example, can you tell us who are your top 3 friends randomly, like your really close friends from the Portland scene and outside Portland in the bartending scene?
yeah. I mean, I'm pretty close friends with a few bartenders here in town. My I think my closest bartender friends here in town are my staff. Honestly, we still see each other every day, talk to each other every day, all day. Um, I'm friends with a lot of bartenders around the country, around the world. I have a lot of friends in Germany and England that I hang out with and talk to quite a bit. I think it's good to have those relationships with bartenders, and get like a different perspective. Which is really it's certainly taught me a lot. Following especially the European bartenders back in the mid 2000s. I was really close with the European bar community and learned a lot about cocktails from them just because their take on drinks was so different from the way we were doing them here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but how about in the US? Who was your last Viber or no, sorry, not Viber, but who was your last text mate during the last 24 hours?
Let's see. A friend of mine that I used to tend bar with down in Eugene. We've been texting today because he just had a baby. His wife just had a baby, and so.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. My next question for you is, what's your take on sustainability?
I mean, that's a tough one, like we are dealing with an industry that is, by definition, not super sustainable, just shipping gin from London and whiskey from Japan and tequila from Mexico, just it's innately not super sustainable, unless you go with like local products, which is really, really hard to do an entirely local program because, while here in Portland we have a lot of good local spirits, we just don't have things like tequila and rum and scotch and, you can't, we certainly couldn't have, being in a hotel, couldn't have an entirely local spirits program, and so I think that a lot of people are doing it right, and then citrus, and other types of like exotic juices. Pineapple juice. We certainly don't grow that here in Oregon. And there are a lot of people that are taking steps to. We're certainly taking steps to do it. Do it right, but it's tough.
Okay, all right. So, but you're not really too, how do you call it? To marketing about it. Like, okay, we are a sustainable bar. We recycle everything here, or we don't use straws and whatnot. So,
Yeah, I mean, recycling is so part of the Portland. Everybody, we recycle, but every business here recycles. We're not special for recycling. We do what we can. I honestly, I don't think that saving a few straws is really going to do that big of a service to the planet. I think there are other things that we could do to make it better.
all right. Okay, let's read through. You have a lot of followers now. Suddenly, just pop, boom. Okay, I started following due to bartending, but I see more posts about Jeff's cookie recipe. What's the story behind it?
I have been making these stupid cookies at home for well over a decade, probably close to 20 years now, and working on my recipe. And for the longest time, only a couple of friends had the recipe, but it was sort of like all my friends. I would bake the cookies and I would bring them to work, for my staff, and I'd make them for friends and stuff. And they just kind of became like, a lot of people were talking about the stupid cookies. And so my she asked me for my cookie recipe, and of course I gave it to her because I love her so much and she's the best. And I asked her, I said, I'm thinking about putting it on my website. What do you think? And she was like, I think you should. And I just did it just for fun. I just thought that, with the lockdown and everything, that maybe some people could use some cookies, and it just kind of like, it just was like the right time, right place. Everybody wanted to like bake the cookies at home. So, it's pretty fun that it's just fun to share stuff and have people enjoy it and like what you're doing and want to, want to make them themselves.
Yeah, that's my next project after I master the chicken wings, because I'm currently
Nice.
Well, I'm gonna, of course, during the lockdown we need to make some ways to pay the bills. So
Yeah.
I'm planning on selling some potato chips and chicken wings. So
Sure.
so far so good. I'm on the buffalo sauce
Nice.
procedure now. So because I love wings personally. So
Who
of
doesn't?
course,
Yeah.
you can't make something that you don't love. So so far so good. In fact, after this, I'm gonna go to the market and buy myself some wings to do another R&D.
Well,
Okay,
you'll have
so-
to publish your recipe when you get done with it. The internet can make Richie's chicken wings.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, again, welcome to Toma Sessions Live. Welcome, Catherine Epstein. So Kathy is a long-time fan. Just a shout out. So let's do a browse. You have a lot of comments coming in right now. Okay, Jeff, what do you from Frances Gum? What do you listen to, if anything, on your daily 10-mile treks? What keeps you grooving?
keeps
So
me
you like to so you like to trek. Okay.
Yeah, I go for a walk every morning, and it used to be about 7 miles in the morning before work, and now now that I've got all this time in my head, it's up around 10, 11 miles a day. I usually just listen to music or I listen to podcasts. Podcasts if I'm feeling like learning something, and music if I feel like just kind of chilling out.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
like-
do you know Frances? Do you know, is she your friend, Frances Gum?
Oh yes, we're internet friends.
Okay. And then the Samuel Elliott Summer saying, "God, the goddamn cookies, Jesus."
I know. The goddamn cookies. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Okay, hold on. Do you find, okay, here's another question. Do you find yourself drinking more in quarantine or less? So how's your drinking habit like the past 2-3 months?
I don't really, I don't really drink much anymore at all. I stopped about 4 years ago, and not completely, but for the most part, I have, I have a drink here and there. I have a lot of friends. I get worried, with all this, because I have a lot of friends that are just kind of like using this time to sit at home and just drink constantly, and that makes me really scared for them, because I think that 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, how many ever months of sitting at home drinking every single night is really, really dangerous. And I know when this first started, I had drinks a couple of times, and I had to kind of put it back down, and really like force myself to just like do other things and get up and go for a walk, and go down to the bar and clean the bar, and read books and cook and do whatever I can to just like not fall into that trap of sitting around drinking all the time, And I'll have I haven't had any alcohol in probably about 2 weeks. I had a couple of glasses of wine a couple of weeks ago with dinner. I decided I'm probably going to make myself dinner this weekend, maybe make something kind of fancy, and have maybe a glass of wine. I'll probably pick out something and have a glass of wine, maybe use the rest of the bottle, to cook with. But I think that now more than ever, it's really, really important to not get stuck in this trap of just sitting around and just getting drunk all the time, because it's it's really, really dangerous. It's
okay.
really,
Shout
really
out, Souther. Souther says Jeff. Souther Teague in the house. There
Southern Teague in the house. Hi, Southern Teague. I love Southern Teague.
Yeah. So no, I feel you. I was actually caught in the trap of drinking. The first 2 months was really, I don't know. I think it's denial of what's next. It's between being scared or how to deal with the current situation. I find myself basically, drinking every day, sometimes twice a day, and in fact, that's the main reason I put up Toma Sessions. It can be literal, but it also can be figuratively, because Toma means to drink, and that's what I told you. But eventually, I realized my health is deteriorating, and physically I'm bloated like a blowfish, So
bloated like a blowfish. I love that. Sorry to laugh, but it's pretty funny. It's pretty good.
So I had to really stop, and I had, even if I'm doing my shoot, I'm just tasting it. Because I have to reconcile the ingredients to the taste, or the measurement to the taste. So, but so far, I've been good for, like I said, more than a week now. I'm catching up on you for 2 weeks. So, but and I feel good. In fact, on the carb side, it let me lose a lot of weight, and I haven't really done walking yet, but maybe next week. Okay, so Doctor is asking, are you pivoting toward more cooking as a focus of your career? How is photography playing into your future plans?
No. I love cooking so much. I don't want to. I don't really want to share it. I like that it's a personal thing for me. I don't really want to make cooking my job. Unless I have to. I would be very happy working in a kitchen. But I would rather keep the cooking kind of personal and private. You know, I've shared so much of my life, you know, my writing and my, you know, all the drink stuff and all the talks and everything that I've been doing around the world. It's nice to have something that's just yours. It just belongs to you that you maybe don't share with the world. So that's cooking for me. Yeah, and I just don't feel qualified. I cook as a hobby, but I don't feel qualified to like speak to it as an expert. You know, I feel qualified to talk about bartending, but I don't feel qualified to talk about cooking. You know, there's so many people out there that know so much more.
That's your answer from Jeff. Actually, no, it's
Oh, is that Souther?
yeah, is it Souther who asked the question?
Souther, no, Souther's a cook. Souther's a professional cook.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay,
a lot of people don't know that, but
yeah.
he comes from the kitchen.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Souther, shout out to you. Your I plan to bring you in also here in the show. So if you're up to it, let's chat after. Okay, so what's your favorite? Are you a fan of beer also?
Yeah, I like beer.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know enough about beer, but I really love beer. I love local beer. You know, I've even made beer a couple of times, long time ago, with friends.
Mhm.
I think beer is like really super cool.
Okay. All right. Let me just go through some questions. So we're down to 15 minutes. Okay. So again, guys, feel free to shout out your comments or questions, and Jeffrey will be glad to answer it. Okay. Maybe my next question, Jeff, is what's your take on mental health when it comes to the bartending
Yeah.
industry?
Yeah, I mean, again, I feel like mental health is so tied to the drinking. You know, I've known a lot of bartenders over the years, myself included, that have struggled with mental health. You know, it can be very taxing. I find that my mental health is so much better now that I'm not drinking all the time. You know, especially as you get older, it really does affect you. It affects your body and affects your mind. And so, you know, I'm proud to say that my mental health has never been better than it is right now. You know, my anxiety's way down. Depression is you know, way better for me. Everything's, you know, been, you know, because it's a hard job. It's a tough job, and people want to kind of like suck the life out of you when you're back there. You know, people are not always super nice, especially when they're drunk. And I think that you have to do everything to take care of your body and your mind if you want to do this for a long time. And I do. You know, I've been doing it for almost 25 years now. And I want to keep doing it for another 25. And, you know, I just can't, I can't do that if I'm drunk all the time or depressed all the time or anxious, you know, all the time, or if my body is just falling apart. Like I gotta, you know, it's like you're like a real, like a poor version of a professional athlete, you know, that you got to keep everything, you know. You know, we're definitely not professional athletes, but we're like a really shitty version of a professional athlete. You know? Like instead of running a marathon, we just have to like lift a case or two of beer up a flight of stairs. But yeah, you know, I find that mental health is so tied to everything else.
Okay, so but how about your industry? How is is it a taboo there, or is it an open book that in your industry in Portland that you can discuss about that openly, or is that something that like it's like an individual thing that you keep it to yourself?
What do you mean?
Because okay, the thing with mental health is normally okay. There's like a stereotype, right? If you say mental health, it's really on the negative thing. It's like you go loco or something like that. But I'm talking of a varied perspective. But like on the other hand, like now we're doing a conversation. We're openly talking about it as two individuals that are mature enough to say that you do feel depressed. You you have a problem with drinking or something like that. But how about as an industry in your community? Are you guys open to discussing, or let's say like a focus group on asking how you guys are, etc.?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, I'm part of like a very close knit community of very small and very close knit community of bartenders here in Portland, and bar managers, and we, these are all people that take it very, very seriously, and we talk to each other about these issues often, really, especially now. It's so important to check in with your people, with your community, and make sure that everybody's doing okay. And so, I love that we take the time almost daily to check in with one another and see how everybody's mental health is holding up. And at least among us, there's no stigma. I mean, we're all kind of the same. We all know how hard it can be, and we certainly don't judge each other for that when we're talking about mental health. And we do talk about, the positive side of mental health as well. It's like, what are you doing this week, or what are you doing today to like keep yourself like happy and interested and joyful and hopeful. We talk about hope a lot. Hope is something that is so important right now. So many of us are giving up hope. And it's really important that we talk about what we do to maintain hope, to keep hope alive, because
there you go.
There's some days where that's about the only thing that I've got is hope.
Yeah, no, I feel you. That's why this is also one way of me. Toma Sessions is one way of me coping up. I really need to do something. Otherwise, I'll rot in my studio and maybe finish. I don't know how many bottles I can finish in a day with this situation. But
don't do that. Don't do that.
No, I
think this is great that you're doing this. I mean, I think this is really.
Fortunately, all is good. Yes, like Soder said, hope is very important. Yeah, we have to really keep it positive. And with that regard, what's the situation now in Portland when it comes to the quarantine or the counts? How is it there now?
I think it's been getting that statewide. They've been getting. It's been getting a little worse lately, and I think that some areas have not been taking it as seriously, and that's unfortunate. It's anything like this. It's you're going to see people that take it really seriously, and people that take it not so seriously, and I mean, I'm trying to take it seriously, and I'm trying to keep everybody around me taking it seriously, because it's really fucking scary, man. People are dying, and I just hope that everybody that I know and love, stays safe and takes care of themselves. And takes
what are the basic laws there when it comes to quarantine? It's like, okay, are the liquor stores closed? Because, okay, in the Philippines, there was a time that there's a liquor ban. So literally, you can't buy liquor in a convenience store. Any place selling alcohol is an X.
Mm-hmm.
But I found out, like, let's say in Australia, liquor is considered an essential. So, but
yeah. I think it is for them. Yeah.
But there's only few places, or in fact maybe one or two, that are allowed to sell, but there's no bars or restaurants open.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that in Portland?
The liquor stores are open, the grocery stores are open, everybody's able to get alcohol. I think alcohol sales are doing just fine. Everybody's drinking at home.
Okay.
I know the wine industry is killing it right now, because everybody's drinking wine like crazy.
Okay.
I mean, alcohol is plainly available here. There's been no there's been no stopping that. I don't worry about it because my house is probably more well stocked with alcohol than most bars.
But what are your laws? What are Portland's main laws when it comes to this pandemic? Like, what can't you do? What can you?
Well, you can't have a bar or a restaurant that seats people inside. You can do takeaway food. You can sell wine and beer to go, and that's about it.
Okay, so pretty much you can go in and out of your house, go take a walk. Okay. So you're not that strict in Portland or in the States in general.
Not really. Yeah.
Okay. That figures. That's because they're not that strict. Because here, although in my city, because I'm from Marikina, so normally I think you've heard of Manila, but Manila is a city also within 13 other municipalities, and I'm from the shoe capital, but we have different towns, and we have a few spikes. So meaning there's been increased cases. But we're keeping it at the minimal. But because we're pretty strict when it comes to, let's say in your town, if you have some cases, you're not allowed to go out. The jeepneys or the public transport is limited only into trains and private vehicles. So there's no public vehicles yet. And when it comes to bars, no bars yet are open. Only those that have a restaurant, but then again, the bar operation itself is still closed due to social distancing. Okay, so, and I remember when the first few months in LA, the beach is full of people, no?
Yeah. It's crazy, huh? It's just crazy.
Sorry, it's a bit funny, crazy, and sad at the same time because that's why the shoot up of incidents there probably has increased due to those things. Okay, but yeah, I'm hoping also that in the States your numbers will go down because is there already like an announcement like when, like you personally, when are you predicting that the bars will be slowly open?
We don't really have any idea, to tell you the truth. It's, it's still, they talked about last week. That didn't happen because we had too many new cases. I heard they're going to revisit it this week, but we just have no way of
knowing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's go through I'll scroll down and then we'll reset and then we'll do a wrap up already because I think it's almost 1 hour.
Okay. I need to find a charger. My phone is dying.
Okay. Okay. How can we support our local? This is from Kat. How can we support our local hospitality right now, since it's almost non-existent?
Yeah, it's hard to support an industry that's basically non-existent, isn't it? I wish I knew how to support a whole community that isn't even really there. I think it's what everyone is trying to race to figure out, especially like liquor companies. You see them like really scrambling, trying to figure out.
And that's 1 hour of Instagram Live. That sucks, doesn't it? But, well, unfortunately, Jeff can make it here back on IG Live due to some things he's got back home. But then again, this is one of the most epic episodes that we had here in Toma Sessions Live. Don't you agree? If you like this episode, please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and leave a comment so you get updated to our future episodes. Alright? Now, with that said, well, see you next week. And as I always say, I love bartending, Toma Sessions, and tagay hanggang mamatay. See you next week.